Hey everyone, welcome to this weekend's video. Thanks very much for stopping by. Today we're having a look at another tool from the 18V Power Xchange range from Ozito. As you know on the channel, I've got a number of tools there that we've already done. We've done the 18V chainsaw, the 36V chainsaw, the little hybrid inflator, which is a real nifty little tool, and I've got a bunch of other stuff coming up as well. Again, Ozito has been in touch. They've sent me out a whole bunch of other stuff. Apologies to Ozito for not getting this stuff out as quickly as I have in the past, but I've had to shoot a couple of weddings on the bounce and it's just taken up my time as far as editing, and a few other products have been there as well. Thanks again very much to Ozito and Rebecca for sending this stuff out to me. Very much appreciate it. The first cab off the rank today is going to be the chainsaw sharpener, which is bloody brilliant. This is going to match up really well with the 36V and 18V chainsaws that they've sent out to me previously. I'm going to be able to sharpen my chains in the bush, which means I don't need to worry about it at home. So if I run into a blunt chain, I can do this wherever I'm going to be at. This will stay in the car with the chainsaw and I'll be good to go. Just going to keep getting firewood. It's actually getting a little bit cool and it's starting to rain ever so slightly, so I'm going to need a jacket. So let's get that sorted out. Okay, that's much better. All right, let's get into this review. Now, I've just recently gotten back from a weekend of camping, and the Ozito 36V chainsaw was the tool of choice for going and getting our firewood. I was very lucky. We actually found somewhere pretty close to camp, which was down a bit of a slight hill. It was gotten quite wet, and we had a bit of fun getting the old Pajero out once we got it loaded up, but Pajero did well, just needed a bit of a run up.
Because at the top, it's basically foot to the floor, just...
He's hammer it when he gets there.
Down on the Paj, went down here collecting some timber with the almighty mud dick.
And it still worked.
And it still worked. Down here just picking up some wood. We've loaded up.
Boy, have we loaded up.
And now we need to get up that, which we were here yesterday. I think it was a little bit damper yesterday, Stephen. I'm not entirely sure.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
But it was a toboggan ride on the way down. Yesterday we had to, I was stopped sort of in that area there and just couldn't get traction at all. So I had to come back to here, get some grip. You can see where our tyres are. Get a run up and then just keep the boot into it, skid my way up the top. So fingers crossed this is going to work. Today we bought a second vehicle.
Just in case.
Just in case.
We're going to get whatever of this we can.
Diff lock on, front traction control on. Roger mate, coming up. Might see at the top speed.
I think that actually went up easier than yesterday. I thought it was just as slippery, but maybe not. Wasn't too bad actually.
But I think the chainsaw's over the back here somewhere now.
Everything's over the back.
Yeah.
So those lightweight chainsaws, they're good, but they go everywhere.
They do.
The big heavy still stayed in one spot.
They did stay in one spot, that's good. Alright, let's go camp, have a fire.
Alright.
So for about 4 days worth of firewood, the Ozito did its job well. Obviously when we got back to camp, it was thrown in the back of the car on the little 350 watt Dometic inverter review up in the top right hand corner there, and put on charge every night, and was charged within about half an hour. We barely use that much battery at all, but we certainly got plenty of firewood. Unfortunately, I tend to camp with people who must use every bit of firewood that you've collected on that night and send you back out into the wilderness to go and get some more the next day. Luckily enough, I've got the tools to do so, and now I've got the tool to sharpen it and keep it on the go. Normally for sharpening purposes, I'd use something like this. I'd use just the files and just hand file it, give it a bit of a touch up. Alternatively, I've got the attachment for the Dremel that goes onto the Dremel and allows me to give it a touch up that way. And again, historically, I've just used the Dremel. I haven't worried about the guide. I've just given it a bit of a touch up by hand, by eye, and got it done that way. Unfortunately, my eyes aren't quite as good as they used to be. Sharpening a chainsaw chain by eye probably isn't going to be that great anymore. It's going to probably end up pretty average. I was up at my usual camp spot just a few weeks back, and I was setting up to do some reviews and show you all the stuff that Ozito's got to me. I had the car all loaded up. I took everything up there and figured what better way to show you 18V battery powered stuff than to take it out away from the power and show you how to use it at camp. Anyway, that was the idea. Partway through doing that video, a couple of random guys I didn't know turned up at camp, decided they were going to camp there for the night. That kind of put a bit of a dent in that plan. The good thing was though, that one of the guys, Grant I believe his name was, actually pulled out a little Makita 36V chainsaw. So I took the opportunity to race over and say, whoa, hang on. Let me have a look at this in action. And then I want you to have a go at my 36V Ozito that I had loaded in the car, luckily enough. Handed him a card, showed him that it was a YouTube video thing, it was a legit thing, and he was happy to do that. So here's a quick look at the 36V Makita running up against the 36V Ozito.
size bars on that? That's
That's
about a 12 or something, is it? Yeah.
14.
14. Yeah.
12. 14, I think.
All right. Yeah. No, I just want to see what somebody else thinks of it. Looking at the Makita, it looked like the Makita had a bit more grunt. Is that?
Now, that's what I was looking at, right?
Yeah.
Have a look at this.
So you're looking at wood chips. Mine does need a
Right,
sharpen. Yep.
Here, the Makita is a lot thicker.
Yep. Yep.
Right,
Yep.
so the blade is sharp.
That does need
So sharp.
a
That's what it's
sharpen.
stopping.
Yeah, I was using that the other week at a mate's place. Took down a heap of stuff. It needs a sharpen. Hasn't happened yet.
Yeah,
So. Can I ask what that was worth?
You filming?
Yes.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I got a brand new bill second hand.
All
I
right.
think they're around about a 440, something like that.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
So.
5 amp hour batteries.
Yep. Yep.
So I think if you had a sharper blade.
Yep. Yes.
Um,
Yeah, I definitely know that it needs a sharpen. That's for sure. So
so there you go.
the amount of work that's done. So, honest opinion.
Going on by those two, I'd say the Makita.
Yep.
But if you sharpen the blade, I'd like to try it again.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Excellent. Thank you. We're just out camping and the mate Grant's turned up and he pulled out his little Makita, so we thought we'd just jump on and get him to give us a bit of a demo and give us his opinion against the Ozito. So there you go. Now, as you see there, Grant basically acknowledged that, and I knew as well, that the chain on the Ozito wasn't quite sharp. It's been through lots of use. It was used in this video when I went and took down those big logs over at Eddie's place. So it definitely is in need of a sharpening. All of my chains are in need of a sharpening, and this is where this is going to come in bloody handy. Let's have a look. So this is the nifty bit of kit. This is the Ozito, again, Power Xchange, 18 volt. Chainsaw chain sharpener. Typically when I travel with this chainsaw, it's broken down into a number of pieces. The body of the actual chainsaw itself. Batteries I usually just leave on, or they'll sit in the charger as well. That'll sit in the bag like that. Chain I will typically just leave on the bar and then just drop that in there as well. Some bar oil, of course. And then there's me double fast battery charger that travels in there. That's typically how it travels in the car. This, I think, is going to become part of that kit. And I'm going to be able to travel with that as a complete kit. You mind that the chainsaw sharpener, this very bloody light, can fold it down like that and travel with it like that. When it arrives in the box, it's actually got a zip tie around that, and that holds it closed. You can sharpen any of your chains. Doesn't necessarily need to be an Ozito chain, it is generic. So there's not much to this, there are a number of adjustments. There's an adjustment on the back. All of your adjustments are going to have a locking nut here as well. So you'll turn the main adjuster to wherever you need it to be, and then you'll just tighten down that locking nut. The one on the back is going to adjust this bolt here, which is going to adjust how far down that disc actually comes, so it doesn't cut into your chain, just touches the tooth. This adjuster here, which adjusts this slide, which is going to adjust where the tooth actually sits. The tooth is going to come back and touch against this, and that's going to hold it in the right place, just so you can get a very slight touch on the edge of that tooth that we're trying to sharpen. And there is one underneath here as well, which you can loosen off and adjust the angle. Now we're going to be working at 30 degrees, which is pretty much standard for most of your chains. There's a graduation on the front, adjusting that to 30, reach down and just tighten her up on the bottom. Loosen off this lock knob. As you tighten this up, that pinches this piece together, and it's just going to catch on these runners underneath the bottom of the chain. Literally drop them in there. It's exactly the same way as it's going to be running in the chain on the chainsaw. And you can see that you can move that along nice and easy. When you tighten that down, that's meant to hold your chain in place. You can see that's not quite at the moment. So what we're going to do is just back that off, pull this lever backwards, and then rotate it to the left. And then what that's going to allow us to do is to push it back on, tighten that down, and there we go, now our chain's tight. So that is adjustable, so if you need to adjust it, back it off, get it up into about the center position, pull it to backwards, just like that, rotate the left, push it back on, and then you can tighten that up. Now that's going to be really tight on that chain. Might actually leave it like that. Alternatively, if it's too tight and you're not able to turn it all the way,
you can back it off, take it up to center position, rotate it right, push it back on, back it off. Anyway, I think you get the concept. It's holding that chain very, very tightly. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to flip this little holder over here, loosen this bobby off, and we're just going to pull the first tooth that's facing the right way. You're going to know because we've got a 30-degree angle going that way. If we went to one of the other teeth, it's going to be basically cutting across the tooth, so we don't want that. So we're just bringing it down. Now we're way off. We need to adjust this right over that way. But the wheel itself doesn't move. So what you need to do is use these different adjusters to get the tooth of the chain into the right spot. So what you can do is pretty much hold the wheel down and make adjustment so it's just in the right spot. All I'm doing is just winding in this one to move this mechanism forward, which is pushing the tooth forward, which is getting it to touch that wheel. Now it's also important to make all of your adjustments towards the positive, if that makes sense. So you don't want to be backing it off, because if you're backing it off to make an adjustment, the chain's not going to come back on its own. So what you need to be doing is adjusting forward and then working with that. Now that I'm happy with how much that's touching, it is only touching that tooth ever so slightly. It's going to tighten down this lock nut on here. Probably important just to hold the end of that while you're tightening that up. Just double check once you've tightened it. You can see that wheel is coming too far down in, and it's actually touching the bottom of the chain. But this is where I need to adjust the back here, and that just works as a stop that wheel going all the way down to the bottom. That's about right there. Again, just going to tighten up that lock nut. Now we're just going to hit the button on the back, turn her on, and you'll see there's a nice little light that comes on there. Just bring that down, just going to touch that tooth ever so slightly. Now what you can also do is turn it on, have your tooth backed off just a little bit so it's not actually touching the wheel when it comes down. And with this unlocked, what you can do is just slowly wind that in until that starts to touch that tooth. There we go. Now we can lock that off. I think you can see just how lightly we're touching that. For the next tooth, back it off. Take the next tooth through and go to the next one. Look, it's going to be really obvious because you're going to see that the teeth aren't lining up with the angle of the wheel. Just pull the chain back so it's hard up against this stop. Bring your wheel down. It really is just quick. Obviously, if you're only just taking this fine little touch on each tooth, it means that you're going to get a bit more life out of your chain. You don't need to worry too much about marking these. You will be able to feel where you've been. You'll see there's obviously a nice little clean line on the one that you started on. Just going to turn that off for safety reasons, so we've not got that disc spinning up there. Undo the bolt at the bottom. Just back that off and turn it around to a 30-degree mark. Tighten it back up. This time we're going to do all the other teeth that we just skipped. Just when you do your first one, just check it should be pretty well right. Another great thing about this is it's super quiet. Like it's just making next to no noise. You can do this pretty much anywhere you want. You're not going to disturb the missus, you're not going to disturb the neighbours, and certainly if you got back to camp, you've done a trailer load or a ute load of firewood, and you remembered last thing that you needed to sharpen the chain for the next day. You could certainly do this at camp. You're not going to wake your mates up, but buggy your mates, they're probably the ones that used all your firewood anyway. Tell them to suck it up. If you just touch your teeth while you're working on them, you'll definitely know which ones you've sharpened and which ones you haven't. We are done, and it's starting to rain. Lock it down. Just give it a quick test. Okay, we're good there. What's the matter, dog? So that is it. That is the end of our review of the Ozito Power Xchange 18-volt chainsaw chain sharpener. Try saying that 3 times quickly. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks very much for stopping by, and we'll catch you
on the next one. Cheers, guys.
You idiot.